In an industry stuffed with marketing bullshit, empty promises, and shiny-suited liars, one woman's had enough. She knows what it's like to have the wrong clients, no money, and no time for fun. But she also knows how to fix it. And on the Business for Superheroes show, she promises to tell the down and dirty truth about business, sales, and running away with the circus. Here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Welcome to the Business for Superheroes show. I'm Vicky Fraser, and this is my Christmas husband, Joe.
Hello.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm all right. My glass of red wine is a little bit too cold.
Yes, that's why I put my glass. I'm sitting right in front of the wood burner, and my glass of wine is right in front of the wood burner, together with the bottle. Joe's chosen to sit on the sofa in the cold.
I'm not in the cold. I'm facing the fire.
Facing the fire.
But not very close to it.
No. So, yeah, it's almost Christmas.
It is nearly time to stop working.
And in fact, when you guys are listening to this podcast, it will in fact be...
Christmas Eve?
Christmas Eve, yes. It will in fact be...
Have you not got anything better to do?
Hey! Our podcast is awesome. So, yeah, Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. And we'll do that again shortly, because, you know, that's what we do. Okay, so we are actually, even though it's Christmas, it's obviously New Year's next week, because, you know, it's Christmas this week.
Well noticed.
Thank you, I pay attention. And I wanted to talk this week about why New Year's resolutions suck.
Okay. Why do New Year's resolutions suck?
Because they're stupid.
Stupid.
No, they suck because... I was looking at some research into this the other day because obviously I'm very interested in habits and motivation and, you know, people actually getting off their backsides and doing stuff.
Okay.
And
that was one of the things we were going to add to the list of podcasts we were going to do. Habits.
Yes.
Last time we were sat recording a podcast unable to write anything down. Habits.
Well, we can do that next week because that kind of ties into what we're doing this week.
Habits.
So, yeah, this week, though, we're talking about why New Year's resolutions suck. And because I was doing some research, as I just said, and I discovered that about 50% of people make New Year's resolutions regularly.
Right.
Well, every year, I guess, regularly. And only 8% of people actually achieve them.
I think last week you say it was like 4% or something.
Well, I thought it was 4%, and I think I must have found I think... maybe 4% of people kind of keep to them, but 8% of those people achieve them. I don't know. Anyway, I got confused. But I got this stat from Forbes, an article in Forbes from January 2016.
Right.
I don't know how correct it is. I suspect it's probably about right.
Mm-hmm.
About 50% of people make resolutions, 8% of people achieve them, which is more than I thought. So, and most give up after the first couple of weeks. So have you ever noticed how busy gyms are in January and February?
Yes.
Particularly January. And people who regularly go to gyms just get really pissed off.
People going for a run in amazing shiny new clothes.
Yes. And, you know, I don't want to be kind of too bitchy and disparaging because, you know, good for people for getting off their backsides. But at the same time, it lasts for most people for like 2 weeks, maybe 3 or 4. And, you know, you get to kind of middle of February, end of February, and the gym gets back to normal and everyone breathes a sigh of relief because you don't have to wait for half an hour to use the equipment. Not that I go to the gym, but...
So why do people make New Year's resolutions? What's that about?
I don't know. I kind of thought about it, and I think it's because New Year, new beginning, and, you know, you see this proliferation all over Facebook around this time of New Year, new you, which just makes me want to punch the screen really hard. And it's kind of like... you know, weight loss business, life coach bullshit, and like, oh man, life coaches don't even get me started. Oh, I saw a thing the other day, and it was like a chap saying that he was thinking, oh, you know, not sure what to do for business, that kind of thing. I think I'd like to become a life coach. How old do you think he was? 22. How the fuck can a 22-year-old be a life coach?
Well, they might be super organised and have, you know, been around the world twice on their own and run a couple of businesses and no, they probably haven't, though.
Nah. And even if they have, even if all of those things are true, I want somebody who's got a bit more life wisdom to coach. I don't even get life coaches anyway. I'm probably going to get a lot of hatred from life coaches now. But if you can explain to me what a life coach does, I would be interested. to find out. If you're 22, don't bother. Because I'm probably not going to listen to you.
I'm interested. If you're a 22-year-old life coach, hit us up with your CV. Tell us what you can do.
If you're a 22-year-old life coach, I think that you should stop taking money off people for... Anyway, we're getting slightly off topic. But I think it's because it's a natural breaking of the year, and it's kind of, end of one year, beginning of another year.
A reflective moment in your year when you think about what you've done and what you might do next.
Yeah, well, I think most people reflect on what they haven't done.
The disappointments.
Yeah, and whilst I think for a lot of people that's probably accurate, because most of them have watched X Factor. There are actually there's many people who will kind of think, I've done nothing, but actually have achieved an awful lot of stuff.
Other crap TV is available, by the way, folks. Don't feel too offended if you watch X Factor.
I couldn't give a shit if people are offended. If they're offended over that, then they need to find something more important to be offended over. Frankly, I'm quite happy to be mocked for my ridiculous taste in TV. I love Firefly until the end, and I don't care who thinks that's nerdy. But yeah, there's a lot of, if you think you haven't achieved very much, then I would suggest that you do what we mentioned last week and do a little annual review and list all of the things that you've done, because I think you'll be surprised. But yeah, people make New Year's resolutions because it's the beginning of a new year, and so they think, this year I'm going to achieve all of the things that I didn't achieve last year, and they're not. And 9 times out of 10 they're not. And I think the reason
92 times out of 100 they won't.
92 times out of 100 they won't. And I think that's because, I think it's because they don't understand motivation and procrastination and habits. Because if you want to achieve something, you need to form a habit.
Yes. And
it really is as simple as that. And say for smoking, if you give up smoking, you need to replace that habit with something else, because you can't break habits. You can only change them. So you've got your cue, and we're getting a little bit into what we're going to be talking about next week, but you've got your cue, your whatever it is that you do, and then the reward. And for smoking, it'll be whatever triggers your smoking, so it might be boredom or whatever, or getting off the train as it used to be for you.
Hunger and all that stuff, yeah.
Then you'll have a cigarette, and the reward will be the nicotine high and the endorphin rush. So you need to get the same endorphin rush, or similar enough endorphin rush, but from something else. And so I think people just don't understand how habits are formed. They don't understand the neurophysiology of the brain, because that's what it comes down to. So I kind of wanted to talk a little bit today about, instead of making a resolution that we won't keep, let's make an action plan that we've actually got more of a chance of keeping. Because it's not enough to just say you're going to do something. You have to put stuff in place to make sure that you actually do it. And I think that's the problem with most resolutions.
They're just a destination. They're a goal. They're not a
plan.
A plan.
Yeah.
They're not a set of actions. They're a
vague kind of. Yeah. So I've got like a seven step thing. I should call it something. A 7-step
plan.
I don't know.
What is it? It's a challenge.
I don't know. I should have thought about this.
You should have done. Did you?
I have got 7 steps to help you make a resolution that you'll actually keep.
Right.
So, thing number one.
What is... Okay.
Clearly define your goals. Because most people's resolutions are like really woolly. They're like, I'm going to lose weight this year, and that's it. I'll leave it at that. I'm going to lose weight this year. That is my New Year's resolution. Or I am going to be happier. Or I am going to work harder. Or I'm going to enjoy life more.
I think things like stopping smoking are pretty clear definitions.
It's not clear enough though. So let's define that goal. But a lot of people will say lose weight or be happier, and they're too woolly. They're just shit, because it's they're meaningless. You're going to lose how much weight? Be happier compared to what? Give up smoking by when? Because if you're just going to say I'm going to give up smoking this year, then you've got an entire 12 months. Which means you're going to do naff all about it. And you're going to try in January, you're going to fail, and then you're going to do naff all about it until December, when you're going to fail again.
Okay.
Well, for most people, that's true, though.
Yeah.
Or a variation on that theme. So instead, I want you to define your goals clearly. So if you're going to lose weight, how much weight are you going to lose? When are you going to lose it by? How are you going to do it? If you're going to be happier, what the hell does that mean compared to what? What's making you unhappy now? What would make you happy? And by the way, if you're looking for external stuff to make you happy, you are never, ever, ever going to be happy. Happiness has got to come from within. Yes, there's stuff that if you're in a shit relationship, then removing yourself from that shit relationship will help, but that in itself won't make you happy. You can't rely on other people to make you happy.
No.
Or on external stuff, ever. So that's my first suggestion. That's my first step.
Define the goal.
Define the goal clearly. And, make very clear what you want to achieve and by when.
Okay, so if I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to lose a kilo a month.
Maybe.
And I'm going to do it by, I don't know.
Really. I don't know that much about losing weight. I'm lucky enough to have never had to need to. So, number 2. Sorry, I was talking into my wine glass then because I was about to take a drink.
Talk amongst yourselves for a second.
My wine's still too cold. Okay, step 2. Track your progress.
Track it.
People don't do that. They make this goal, they say, I'm going to do such and such, and then they just think it's going to happen. They think that kind of doing stuff every now and then is enough. It's not. It really isn't. There is no point in making a resolution and then kind of vaguely bumbling in the right direction.
Okay.
So, and track the actions that you're going to take as well, not the results that you're going to get.
Okay, so if I'm going to lose my kilo a month, then I'm going to do it by having a plan. And the actions are going to be, I'm going to run 5 miles a week and I'm going to, eat less cake.
Yeah, something like that. But I would define eat less cake as well. And by the way, we are not dietitians or nutritionists or exercise experts. This is just an example. So, there are people out there who actually will help you lose weight properly without putting you on some sort of awful kale and cucumber diet. And, it'll be like anyway, that's getting off topic.
Okay.
But don't track your results. And that's really, really important. I wanted to go back to that because a lot of people will only track their results. And that's a terrible idea for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because you can't control your results. You've got no control whatsoever over the results that you get.
You can just control your actions.
You can only control your actions. So if you and that's the really important thing, you see, because if your actions are so say for me, if I wanted to run a marathon next year, which I kind of did, but I didn't get into the London Marathon, so knobs to that. But if I was going to train for a marathon, then I wouldn't if I was only tracking my results, it would be like,
have I run a marathon?
Have I run a marathon? Yeah. And the answer to that is always going to be no until I've actually run the marathon. So, so what I would do is say, I would put a plan together, and in week 1 I would run 5 miles, and in week 2 I would run 7 miles, and then so on and so on. And I would track the actions that I take. So it's like, well, how many times am I going to run in a week? And it might be a minimum of 3 times a week. But then I would also want to do my pole dancing. I'd also want to go to gymnastics because I would want to be cross-training because all of that feeds into the same fitness and builds up strength and flexibility and all the rest of it. So my tracking would be, okay, I'm going to put a tick in my calendar every time I go for a run, every time I do an interval training, because one of them would be a distance run, one of them would be a speed run, one would be in an interval training. I would tick every time I've been to gymnastics, that kind of thing. So I would have a tick in the box for every action that I had taken. And by doing that, that is a reward in itself because you get an endorphin rush from ticking stuff off.
You'd be, I have done this.
Yeah, and you can set yourself little rewards for the end of each week. But the other reason that you track actions and not results is that if you're consistently doing that, then your results will happen automatically. You can't fail to get fitter.
I guess as well, if you've got 40 things that you've been, you've got your calendar with all of your events that you're going to do in order to achieve your goal.
Yeah.
If you're, a third of the way down that list and you've ticked every box, you're really quite reluctant to not tick the next one. You are. And if you want a real life thing that will help you with this, by the way, have a look for Jerry Seinfeld, the comedian. Jerry Seinfeld's How to Be a Successful Comedian. Bear in mind, this man is probably the richest comedian on the planet. Richest comedian ever to have lived, most successful ever. And he just set himself a goal to write, I think it was write a joke a day, and he wrote every day. And it gets to the point where you don't want to miss the red cross on your calendar because you've broken the chain then. That is all a habit is. That's all it is. And so, if your goal is to get better at copywriting for next year, which is a good goal, and it should be more defined than that, but, then your goal should be, I'm going to write every day. And an easy way to do that is to email your list every day. It's very rare that I don't email, occasionally on a Sunday.
I won't send an email.
You usually get emails from other people saying, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I do, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's funny. But yeah, just every day, write something. It doesn't have to be long.
It's like your cartooning thing.
Yeah.
Draw every day.
Draw every day. That's what I've been doing, as you're probably painfully aware if you're on my email list or a Facebook friend. So yeah, track your progress, track the actions and not the results. Reward yourself at the end of each week if you've, hit all your goals, but don't track your results because it won't help.
Okay.
Or don't make that the primary thing.
Don't make that the primary thing, yeah. Track your actions.
Yeah. So step 3, make it realistic. This is really, really important because, again, if you set yourself a goal to lose 4 stone in a month, that ain't going to happen. If you set yourself a goal to run a marathon in 3 weeks, that's not going to happen either unless you're already running ultras or something. Yeah. So, if you want to increase your email subscription list to 2,000, then unless you've got a shed load of money to chuck at PPC, pay-per-click, then it's not going to happen in a week.
Yeah.
It took me a couple of years to build my email list up to 2,000. Mm-hmm. But they're good subscribers. My churn rate is fairly low.
They're actually real people who are interested.
Yeah, they are. So, yeah, progress is made in tiny increments with the odd anomalous leap, but, you don't see the progress as you make it often. And that leads me on to... No, actually, that's the second part of point number 3.
Oh.
Being realistic. So yeah, because I think one of the reasons that people give up on stuff, on New Year's resolutions, is that they don't see immediate results.
Sure.
Because we're kind of wired for instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
And this stuff, like I say, it takes time, so you have to be really, really patient. And I think patience is a really important thing. So if you're going to make some kind of a resolution for the new year, be aware that it's gonna take time. So you're not going to see the progress that you're making, that you will inevitably be making if you're taking the action. So it's like, I get really frustrated when I'm building up my running fitness for half marathons, because if I haven't run for ages, then your fitness drops really quickly and it's really fucking annoying.
Running is horrible anyway. It's grim.
Well, but it's hard because I'll kind of go for a run and I'll be like, oh, I found that 2-mile run really difficult, which is depressing because, a few weeks ago I was running half marathons. And I'll be like, oh, I'm never going to get fit. And I'll keep plugging away. And every day that I run, I'll get a little bit better, but I won't see it.
But it's because it's always hard.
Because it's always hard. It's like when you're losing, if people are losing weight, I've spoken to friends before and I'll not have seen them for 6 months and they'll have lost like 5 stone or something. Well, maybe not that much. I lost 2 stone. I do remember bumping into a friend who I hadn't seen, or an acquaintance I hadn't seen for months and months, and she'd seriously lost about 3 stone.
Yeah.
I've barely recognised her, and I was like, oh my God, you look amazing, you look so different. And she was like, do I? And because she would have seen the gradual.
Yeah.
And, unless she was looking at a before and after picture, she wouldn't have noticed that in herself. I mean, obviously, when it's that drastic a weight change, then she would have done. But if you've only lost a little bit, you don't see it, but it is there.
Mm.
So be really aware of that. It's like prepping a room for decoration, all that bloody prep work up in the attic.
Weeks and weeks to get it all ready.
Yeah.
And then decorating it takes 10 minutes.
Yeah. But you have to do that prep stuff because it's progress, because it means that the end result looks so much better. Yeah. So, yeah, be aware that it takes time.
I had one of those surprising moments of noticing the progress on Friday.
Oh, when?
Yeah, Friday. Because since we moved to the Dingle, I've been going to jiu-jitsu on Friday nights.
Yeah.
Which is great fun. And basically, I'm training with people who do a lot of jiu-jitsu. So what normally happens is we learn some techniques, and then the last half hour of the lesson, I get my head kicked in.
And then I pick him, I meet him in the car, and he's just like, I think I might be sick.
So there's been black eyes, there's been twisted ribs, and
there's been stopping so you could be sick.
There's been stopping a car so that I can, get out and be sick quietly behind a bush. And it's great fun, but it's just painful and horrible. And on Friday, so I've been doing this for a few months now, and on Friday, I got buddied up with a new guy who had like 3 sessions.
Yeah.
And it was so much fun because in the back half of the class, back half of the lesson, there was like 10 minutes where you just spar. And I think I submitted him like 12 times in a row in about 7 minutes. And it was like, I'm gonna armbar you. Bosh, armbar. And then he was like, ah! And then it was like, I'm gonna strangle you a bit. And he's like, ah! And it was great. I was just like picking ways to make him submit. It was great fun.
Good.
And all of a sudden, I saw progress. It was great.
Good. Oh, I'm glad. But that's the thing, you see, because you'd made lots of progress in tiny steps.
Yeah.
But then you get this big, or it feels like a big leap.
Yeah.
Because then you see
suddenly
it.
I was comparing myself against a normal person instead of somebody who does jiu-jitsu for the last 5 years.
Exactly. And that's it. When you're comparing yourself to people who have been doing this for a long time or your peers, it's less obvious. When you compare yourself to where you were...
Yeah, and it's where I was 3 months ago.
It's enormous.
Yeah, it's great.
It's really cool. That's really, really important. I think that's probably... one of the most important things if you want to stick to a plan or a resolution is to be aware that most of the time you're not going to see instant results.
No.
And you won't see big results straight away. Over time, they'll be massive, but, day to day, they'll be tiny.
Nothing there.
So stick with it. Be patient.
I thought I was crap. I thought I was just getting my head kicked in on a weekly basis.
I did wonder.
I'm still getting my head kicked in on a weekly basis, but yeah, it's good fun.
Cool. Okay, so on to step 4. Tell people what you're planning to do and write it down because that makes it real and it makes you accountable. If you just say it and kind of to yourself or even, say it in a drunken New Year's, Happy New Year, I'm going to do this next year, then everybody will have forgotten about it.
I'm going to start a business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to make yourself accountable. So tell somebody who will make you accountable. So if you've got a partner that you trust, so I will tell you stuff, won't I? If I'm like, I want to do this, and you'll poke me about it and go, oh, have you done this? And I've got my business buddy, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. In the Philippines. And
yeah, he's good because the two of you sit down once a week and
he yells at me.
He asks you why you haven't done the things you said you were going to do.
Yeah. So that's really
And
cool.
you do the same for him, right?
Yeah. Although I don't need to because he just gets out. He's a robot.
You need to make him pick bigger goals or something so you can shout at him once in a while.
Terrible week this week. I spoke to him this morning. Anyway, so yeah, make yourself accountable. Fitbit's a really good way to do this if you're into fitness because that's that thing that you wear on your wrist that yells at you if you haven't
taken enough steps.
Yeah, but that's the thing, you see, because it has like a default goal for 10,000 steps a day. But I know friends of mine, like Sean and Renuka, hi guys.
Hello.
I didn't listen. But they will actually go out for a walk late in the evening if they've got to 9,500 steps just to get to that 10,000 steps. And that's the kind of thing that can, it's another form of accountability.
Yeah.
And it can work.
And it's another
really
tick
well.
in a box.
It's another tick in a box. It's a little, Fitbit have worked out what makes people tick. That was a pun.
In boxes.
In boxes. Yeah. So, yeah. Make yourself accountable in some way. Preferably to somebody else, but at the very least write it down because that makes it real. Step 5, make time. And don't just make time, but schedule time. Because I don't have time is a crock of shit. It really pisses me off when people say I don't have time to do this, that and the other, because it's an excuse used by people who have no real desire or drive to achieve what they say they want to do.
Everybody has time.
And if, by the way,
how to spend it.
If there are parents out there listening to me now and going, oh, you stupid bitch, you don't have children, you don't know what it's like, I would like to present to you my Inner Circle member, Lynn, who has children and gets... Hi, Lynn, and gets more done than anybody else I know. She is seriously a powerhouse of activity. And then there's Dom. Hi, Dom.
Hi, Dom.
Dom has kids and dogs, and he just is, again, this powerhouse of getting stuff done. So, I don't want to hear I don't have time to do this. I was in a bloody Facebook group the other day. And I had made this suggestion for somebody who was like, oh, just lost a retainer client. Oh. I was like, what are you going to do about it? I don't know, going to do a bit of networking, I suppose. And I said, well, why don't you make a list of the 100 100 companies that you would like to work with and write them all a letter? And he was like, I don't think I'd have time to even do 10. At which point I facepalmed so hard I gave myself a black eye. But no, but it's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, in that case, you don't have time for a new client.
Exactly. And so it's...
Write the bloody letters, you idiot.
It's fucking crackers. So... I bet you look closely at the life of the next person who tells you they don't have time to do something that will make them money if they do it. And
are they watching X Factor? That's the question.
Are they watching EastEnders? I bet they will find time to do something that they want to do. And it's exactly the same. It's the same excuse for I can't afford it as well. We find the cash for stuff that we want to do, that we want to spend it on.
Yeah, for sure.
So case in point is, this is really funny. Somebody told me that they couldn't afford my Inner Circle, and then in the next breath, they told me about this this weekend trip they were going on to see some show in London, and it's like, well, it's priorities, isn't it?
It's perfectly fine for you to prioritise what you want to spend your money on.
Absolutely, I'm not arguing with that, but
you're not on the breadline.
No,
and you're making choices.
Yeah, and somebody else had told me they couldn't afford the Inner Circle, and the next breath they told me about a magic pill training course that they were going to spunk some money on that wasn't going to do them any good at all. Because my Inner Circle is hard work. It's not going to fix it for you.
You actually do stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to kick your ass into doing stuff, and there's a really supportive group of people, but it ain't going to fix it for you. And I think that's the thing that people, you will find the money and the time to spend on the things that you want to spend on.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. So,
sure.
So if you want something to happen, make time and schedule it into your calendar. Otherwise it won't. Step 6, the all or nothing mindset is bullshit. So, and what I mean by that is don't give up on something just because you've had a setback. So it might be like, oh, I didn't go running at all this week, therefore I failed.
Yes.
It's like, well,
forget the whole plan, knock it into the bin, we'll try again next year.
Exactly. And that's such a human thing to do. And I have been as guilty of that as anybody else. I'm sure you have at times as well. It's just like, you just chuck the whole thing, turn the table over and go, it's not working.
I'm off.
Instead of taking that attitude, instead say, you know what, this has been a bad week, and then go for a run or write the email.
Yeah.
Or send the letter. Or, just because you've eaten an extra mince pie, that's fine, accept the mince pie. Later on, when you're hungry, have a nut. It doesn't wreck the entire plan. So, and that kind of leads me on to step 7, failure. Without sounding like a motivational meme on Facebook, failure really is a stepping stone. If it's only a failure if you don't learn anything from it. And,
if your plan is write 3 books and, you manage to write 2, that's not a failure. That's very nearly there. Just, write your 3rd book in the next few months.
Yeah.
Crack on, keep moving.
And if you do make a really big mistake, you know what? Learn from it. You are not your mistakes. If you can take a lesson from something that you have learned, it is a valuable thing that's happened to you. Even if at the time it seems like the end of the world, if you learn from that mistake, a valuable lesson, a life lesson, it's a valuable thing. It's part of your life, whatever.
Even if all you learn is that plan was not a good plan, or those steps did not lead to the goal you were after, or whatever.
Or, wow, that was a lot of money that I spent on something that didn't work. Analyse why it didn't work. I've done that many times.
Yes.
Analyse why it didn't work. Look at it.
Move on.
Yeah. In the words of Samuel Beckett...
Oh. What did
failed? Never matter. Try again. Fail better. I really, really, really bastardised his quote then.
What?
Well, I can't remember the exact quote now, but Samuel Beckett said something along the lines of, if you failed, well, no matter, fail again, fail better.
Okay.
And I think, actually, the context in which he wrote it was a kind of horrifically nihilistic, depressing... view of life, but it's been taken and actually is a good way to think of failure with a small f in general. You've only really failed if you give up. So,
it's true.
Didn't Winston Churchill say success is simply a matter of bouncing from failure to failure with no lack of enthusiasm?
Yeah.
No loss of enthusiasm.
No loss of enthusiasm.
And it's true. God, if I had given up at the first failure of my business, there's no way I'd be sitting here talking to you now. I'd have gone and got another job.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah.
You'd have to get up in the mornings and get in a car and drive somewhere.
Yeah. That'd be awful. Oof. But no, I've run up. Well, big for me, credit card debt. It's not big in terms of people that think 25 grand on a credit card is normal. I think that's terrifying. But, it's right at the beginning. I was borrowing money. I had loans. It was, you got to accept this failure shit as part of success. Otherwise, you won't be successful. I'm not successful yet, but I'm on the way.
You're doing all right.
Doing all right. Not where I want to be yet. Anyway, so that's my 7 steps. I'll just very, very, very quickly recap because we're running out of time. But step 1, clearly define your goals. Step 2, track your progress. And track your actions, not your results. Actions. Step 3, make it realistic and be patient. Step 4, tell people what you're planning to do and write it down. Step 5, make time and schedule it. And step 6, take that all or nothing mindset and kick it out because it's nonsense. Step 7, treat failure like a stepping stone, learn from it. And don't make the same mistake again.
Sounds reasonable.
It does, doesn't it?
That's much better than going, this year I'm going to be less fat.
Yeah. Or this year I'm going to make more money.
This year I'm going to start a business.
This year I am going to... Okay, anyway. So... if you don't have a copy of my book, that means that you're probably not in my free Business for Superheroes club, which will get you a copy of my 4-page Gazette newspaper every month. which is full of useful stuff and competitions and interesting facts and marketing tips. So, and if you don't get all that, you won't get the free gift that all my book readers are getting in January, which is an hour-long audio training session on CD. Oh, it's not an hour, it's like 50 minutes. It's near enough an hour. Anyway, it will kickstart your year with the details of the 5 things that you should be doing to grow your business in 2017. 5 things that you can do straight away.
Cool.
To grow your business in 2017. Next week, we will give you a very quick outline and glimpse into that after we've talked about habits, which we're going to do, which is all tied into the same thing. The CD will go into it in great detail. If you implement everything that you hear in that CD, you cannot fail to make more money next year and grow your business. You can't. Because it's stuff that I'm doing at the moment. I have done before in the past. I've done with my inner circle members. I do with my clients.
Everybody does better.
It works. So there you go. Keep an eye out for that. Buy my book if you haven't already at businessforsuperheroes.com. And next week, we will be giving you that Habits podcast, because it's a good time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We will be giving you a sneak preview of the 5 things you should do if you want to grow your business. And yeah.
And we still haven't spoken about the mystery log.
Oh, we haven't, but we've run out of time now, so I'll have to do it next week.
Next week.
So all that remains to say is hi to Jen and Phil.
Hey, Jen and Phil.
Hi, Jen and Phil.
Hi, Jen.
And because they came to visit us at the weekend.
Which was very nice.
It was lovely, and we had Thanksgiving with them. And the only other thing left to say to everybody is Merry Christmas, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. And if it's a difficult time of year for you, I really hope that it's not too shit and that you cope. And remember, there are people you can talk to, like the Samaritans.
Mm-hmm.
And we will see you next week, same time next week.
Have a good one, folks.
Bye.
Bye.
Like what you've just heard? Tell your colleagues, tell your friends, send them to www.businessforsuperheroes.com/podcast.